Hello everyone, welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice Podcast. My name is Elle, and I come to you today to read some Law of One material and share with you my reflections and perceptions on what that means to me in these sessions. So, today's quote is going to be about chakras, the metaphysical body, and it's a very big subject, so we can't go into a whole lot of it, but I will try to give a sort of small breakdown of what I've learned about this this fairly large subject that is quite extensively covered in the Law of One material, the raw material. In fact, it has been some of the knowledge that has helped me grow and learn about myself the most, and compared to almost anything else from this material. So with that, let us begin. The quote is from session 32.14, and it goes, beginning, quote, once the green ray, and I want to tell you that the green ray is the heart chakra. Okay, so I'm going to start over. Once the green ray heart chakra has been achieved, the ability of the entity to enter blue ray is immediate and is only awaiting the efforts of the individual. The indigo ray is opened only through considerable discipline and practice, largely having to do with acceptance of self, not only as the polarized and balanced self, but as the creator, as an entity of infinite worth. This will begin to activate the indigo ray. End of quote. Raw, the Law of One, session 32.14. So this is particularly talking about how it's just sort of just like a main point, which they bring up a few times in the material, which is that the green ray, or the heart chakra, is the springboard to the higher energy centers. So before we get into too much of that, let's back up, because maybe you don't know much about energy centers. So let's just, for the logical-minded people here who are listening, I will let you know that spiritual stuff never really made a whole bunch of sense to me at first until I was able to somewhat reconcile it with my logical mind. So what I would share with you is just some facts, if you will. The rainbow, which you see in the sky, has its 7 colors. And what I'm going to suggest is that your chakras as well, you have these 7 colors. So they're very much the exact same in that they go as Roy G. Biv. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And why am I bringing up rainbow? Well, think about it. Rainbow, right? It's when the light goes through the water of the rain, it creates a bow of light. So just recognize, for the example, that you yourself are, haven't looked up the data in a long time, but you're like 70 or 80% water or whatever it is. And therefore, you can kind of understand how you would think of your physical body as like the water, and the metaphysical body as sort of the metaphysical portion of your body, what I would consider your energy body. And then I guess some people might think, well, which one comes first? Is it like the energy body that affects the physical body, or is it the physical body that affects the energy body? And my understanding is it is a bit of both, in that the equation can go both ways, but mainly it is my understanding, based on other raw material, that they say the body is a creature of the mind, which to me would indicate that the body is secondary to what comes in your mind, which then I would link to is, the health of your mind is basically your chakras and your energy system. How you are dealing with the metaphysical is going to be an indication of where your mind is at, and that, in essence, manifests in your body in various ways. So you can see the connection there. Okay, so remember, you have the 7 chakras: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. My understanding is there is a sort of energy flow in the universe, right? The main thing that I'm to understand is that the energy will come in from the bottom going up, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, going upwards that way, starting at red. Red would be number 1. However, there is also a downward spiraling energy, or light, and that is... it's like the creativity, the infinity of the creator. So there's like the sort of the physical pushing up energy, and then there's the the infinite energy of the creator pushing down. So you have these 2 spiraling lines of light, and that's basically, it's like where your sort of like essentially it's the locus of your Kundalini is what that specifically would be. It's like wherever that meets. So in essence, wherever you've activated and opened your chakras to the point where the bottom spiraling light comes up to meet the top coming down spiraling light, wherever that sort of main center is that it's find its resting place in, that would be, you know, probably where you would be considering where most of your lessons are with your incarnation, which would sort of mean that this is to the area where you've activated and balanced your chakras to the point where, you know, your current lessons reside. So you have the upward spiraling light with the downward spiraling light. However, we are in the third density, which means that we sort of have the first 3 chakras in activation in order to exist in this third density, right? 3, as above, so below. So there's these connections between them. So the 1, 2, 3, third density, you can kind of think of them as having relations to the chakras in a way. So if you were here in the third density, it would be kind of natural for you to, not necessarily easily, but more easily than not, you know, able to balance and activate your bottom 3 chakras. And we'll go into what those 3 chakras are. But once you have balanced those bottom 3 chakras, then the energy should have, hopefully, would have enough energy to push up into the heart, which would be the 4th chakra, and then is what they're describing here as the springboard to the higher chakras. So let's just break this down a bit. Bottom 3 chakras are masculine, okay, and the top 3 chakras, maybe 4 if you want to consider it, would be the feminine chakras. So bottom 3 are red, orange, yellow, right? Very masculine. That's the upward pointing pyramid. And then you have the upper 3 chakras, which I guess would be like 4, 5, and 6 would be like the heart, the throat, and the indigo. And then those top 3 chakras would symbolize the downward facing pyramid, right? And if you've ever seen the heart chakra in, I don't know, whatever it is then in the yoga traditions in the Sanskrit or whatever it is, they have the upward pyramid and the downward pyramid, and when you put those together, that symbolizes the heart. So that is the symbol, you know, the symbolic nature of those pyramids, is that the bottom pyramid is the masculine and the downward pyramid is the feminine. And actually, well, I don't want to go into too much of the symbolic nature of it, but you know, that's also why the Illuminati people or whatever kind of have their upward pyramid, right? They're all about that masculine power, that control of the bottom 3 chakras. Okay, so in the bottom densities of first, second, third density, like not talking about your chakras, but actual densities, you can think of those as the further down you go, it's dense in physical nature. But the higher up you go in the densities, it's more dense with light, which seems kind of like opposite, because they say like, oh, it's more dense the higher you go up, but they mean it's more dense with light and love, which would kind of in essence to me mean it would be actually less physicality. It would more be a fluid nature of light. So with that, maybe you can see as you go up the chakra system too, because the chakras are somewhat connected to the densities in a way, the higher you go up, it's sort of you're dealing with less physical things, right? So then let's just back up again now. We'll start from the bottom chakra. So we're going to start with the first chakra, and that would be the red one, which would mainly have to do with survival. So Ross states other places, what is an entity? I can't remember exactly what they say, so don't quote me on this, but what is an entity to react to but for survival, right? What is the first thing that you are going to react to with any experience, any catalyst? Well, you're going to think of things from the aspect of, well, is this going to kill me or not? It sounds like a very silly way to think of it, but honestly, that's how you operate, right? So you can think of your chakras, I sort of think of them this way, as filters of perception. Your first filter is one of survival, because you can't, you want to get somewhere, but you can't just walk across the road. You need to consider the fact that the traffic might end your life. So you are always looking through first survival. Then your second chakra would be a more personal, right? So we go from survival to the personal. And the personal is, well, myself. How does myself relate to the rest of experience, right? Just self. no other self yet. So the next one up is from the number 2 going to the number 3 chakra. The yellow chakra would be what I would consider societal. So now you've gone from personal to societal. So you have your sort of societal self. How do you fit within society? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about your community? How are you part of the community? How are you part of the larger self? So as you're balanced and feeling good and somewhat have these structures in your life in a healthy way, I would consider you to be open and balanced in those first 3 chakras. And you can see how those are the masculine chakras. They're very much the chakras of the physicality, of our world, of Earth, right? It's not dealing with the infinity of and the the infinity and unity and the silence and the unknowns, all of that. That's not the bottom 3 chakras, right? Those are going to be the top chakras. These are going to be the feminine ones, the ones that are open, emotional, more creative. Okay, so let's do that. So from the 3rd chakra, we go up into the 4th, which is what this quote is all about, into the green ray, the heart chakra. From the green ray, we're going to have the springboard to the higher chakras. So what is the green ray? Well, I mentioned the previous chakras. We go survival, personal, societal. Green ray I would consider to be universal. So it's easy in yellow ray maybe to love people that you know, right? That's how you unblock yellow ray, is to love all people that are in relation to the self that you know. Well, how would you unblock the green ray? Well, you actually have love for the universality of love. So you have love for people that you don't know, people that you may hate, that you may love. Pretty much you just kind of consider in your mind any possibility of a person that could be, and not even a person, right? Earth, creation, everything. It's a universal love. It's a love for everything. So we go from survival to personal, societal, universal. Okay, so we've gone to the 4th chakra. And obviously once you start loving all, it's going to be a springboard to the higher chakras, because the higher chakras are all concerned with that sort of truth of the heart being the unity of creation, and that we're all one. Okay, so the next chakra up is the throat chakra from the heart. This would be, it's harder to describe these ones the higher we go, right? Because the higher you go, there's less physicality, there's less words to describe the things. But it would be the blue ray, the throat chakra, is essentially speaking truth. So it's the first outpouring chakra, as opposed to all the other ones, which were all incoming, right? The energy is all kind of incoming to you when you're dealing with things. Whereas the 4th chakra is now the first time that you're able to express your inner truth. So hopefully you've balanced and activated your previous chakras prior to getting to this 5th chakra. And then you would come to things with a loving intention of basically, manifesting truth and love from a perspective of balanced with all those previous chakras. And I suppose it's basically like manifesting things is the throat chakra, speaking truth to power, putting words out there, abracadabra, I create what I speak. It's basically something like that. Okay, so now we're going to go from the throat chakra up to the 3rd eye, to the indigo chakra. Do note that this is prior to the top chakra, which is the violet one. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the violet one is the overall readout of your entire preceding chakras. So maybe I should have just told you that to begin with, because you're like, why is it 3 and then this one at the top? Well, this is why. So anyways, just backing up here. So we're going back to the 3rd eye for the indigo chakra, right? So now we've gone from the throat chakra of outpouring. Now the indigo chakra is more of, it is radiant, it is an outpouring chakra as well, but you have essentially, if you've made it up to that point, you sort of opened up the flow to the infinite downward spiraling light, which is like the creative energy of the creator. It's the infinity. So as you poke up into that area, if you will, you bring in your call from the lower bottom, the essence of your being into infinity. And as you reach infinity in the 3rd eye, infinity may bring down something unique based upon your unique perceptions and call, and therefore you receive something back. But how do you enter the indigo chakra? They say the main thing is silence. The door is opened, and it's opened by silence. So the creator is silence. The creator is beyond words. The creator is beyond everything. And what is the only thing that is somewhat close to infinity and beyond everything? Well, silence, right? Words are finite. There's no words that I can say that will describe the Creator. The Creator is mystery in essence, and therefore silence is your closest bet to experiencing that. And silence is sort of the energy of the indigo chakra, but it also could be, which they talk about here more specifically, where the third eye is opened only through considerable discipline and practice, largely having to do with acceptance of self, right? Acceptance of self, not only as polarized and balanced, meaning that you've chosen service to others and that you've balanced yourself in an appropriate manner. And they say, but as the Creator. So you're wanting to accept yourself, not only as polarized and balanced self, but as the Creator. So you're actually a part of the Creator. You're now an interactive, creative part, adding to the equation of life, not just a player in the game, but a creator in the game. And you're an entity of infinite worth. So the Creator is infinity. Everything in creation is of infinite worth. You just basically have to step out of the way and realize that. And when you recognize infinite worth in yourself, you may recognize the infinite worth in all others. The indigo chakra is the chakra of unity, if I was to give it a specific word other than silence. So unity is obviously respecting all others as one with you, do unto others as you do unto them, etc., etc. So going back up to the now the top chakra above the indigo, which is the violet or the crown, as some call it. So that one is there's not much to do with that one. There's not much you can do with that one. It's basically the readout of all the preceding chakras. So it's like the Creator completed in a way you could think of it as. It's the perfection of you in all moments at all times, and there's no way that violet ray can ever be unbalanced. It is perfection. Okay, so maybe now you see the quote in a more fuller sense, right? Once the green ray heart chakra is opened, it is the springboard to the higher centers. It's kind of because it's opening up the larger reality of life to you. At first, you thought the world was about just the physicality of things. And you sort of grow up thinking, yeah, physical world, that's it. And then one day you question about this whole thing about love and what is this universe about and what's the reason for creation, etc., etc. As you ask those questions, eventually they lead you to, hopefully, opening the heart. And as you open the heart and love others unconditionally and love yourself unconditionally, then the rest of the incarnation is essentially one that is based upon love. And then obviously it would be just common sense that as you open yourself to love, you'll want to share that love with others. So that's you bringing the unconditional love and compassion from the green ray up to the throat. You're able to share and manifest that love with others. And then you can possibly bring it up to another level, to the indigo chakra, where you may just radiate silence. You're radiating love on an unconditional level. If you've ever heard of those yogis where people go to visit them and they don't need to speak or say anything, they just need to be in the presence of that person, that is an indigo ray balanced or activated being. That is somebody who has brought up the energy into the heart, up to the throat, into the indigo and violet, and basically you're just radiating pure essence, pure love, and you don't even have to do anything but just be in their area. Have them look at you in the eyes, and you'll see the love, because the silence speaks louder than the words. The infinity is stronger than the finite. Okay, so there is a ton of stuff we could go on about chakras, but this is probably already getting a little long. So thank you guys for listening. This is the Law of One Spiritual Advice podcast. You can visit my website where you can find all this material for free, theoneinfinitecreator.com, and there's links to all the material. We can download it, visit it at LL Research, the people who give us all this material for free. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have a good rest of the week.